welcome to another edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Today I am honored to be with Karin Tamerius. We actually spoke before. What's the name of your company again?
Smart Politics.
Smart Politics. You know, we do a lot of civil discourse, civil discussion. Well, she knows the smart politics. Let's talk a little bit about that. What do you have to tell me for today?
Well, so Smart Politics is about having more persuasive conversations with people we disagree with. And a lot of times what we're doing is talking with people on the right. And what I realized over the past year is that the biggest barrier to doing that for a lot of people is their emotions.
Right.
We, on the left, get really, really upset, understandably, when we're hearing people say things that are offensive, that are wrong, and that we just vehemently disagree with. And so this year, I've been putting a lot of work into helping people with emotion management so that we can go into those conversations and maintain our cool.
Tell me a little bit about your techniques, because, you know, I try to pride myself in speaking to everybody, but one can always learn new techniques because, as I tell you, things are changing.
Yeah.
And even the techniques have to change at times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I tend to break things down into two categories. There's urgent emotional care and long-term emotional care. So the urgent emotional care is like, what do you do in the moment if you start to feel yourself going into fight or flight? And the three big techniques I teach for that are first, box breathing, which is the same thing the Marines use when they're going into combat to calm themselves
What is that?
down. So basically, it's take a deep breath to the count of 4. So you're inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you hold it for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 in your head, and then exhale to a count of 4, and then hold it again at the exhale for a count of 4. And you do that 3-4 times, and it is amazing. It's like hitting a reset button on your nervous system. So that is the first thing I teach people. The second thing I teach people is to is a trick for getting you out of your emotional brain and into your cognitive brain. And when you can't use those two parts of your brains simultaneously. And so if you force yourself to shift gears a little bit, you're necessarily going to calm down. So one of the ways to do that is with a grounding technique. And the grounding technique involves starting out by finding 5 things in your environment that are blue. Just take a moment, look around, name them to yourself. And then number 4, and then the second thing you do is you find 4 things in your environment that you can touch. Name those to yourself. So you're moving through your senses. The third thing you do is find 3 things in your environment that you can hear, 3 sounds. And then the 4th is 2 things in your environment that you can smell. And the final one is something you can taste. And usually for me, that's coffee.
Oh, yeah.
What works?
Well, let me ask you, because as you're speaking here, you're saying do all those things. You're saying do all those things figuratively.
So take a moment. You can do them out loud.
What I'm saying is, when you say 4 things blue, you don't mean me looking around my environment.
I do.
You actually do.
I do. Look around the space you're in. Right now, I can see over there across the way. There's a refrigerator with blue on it.
Right.
Like, oh yeah.
Okay.
Like make your brain work.
So you're saying make your brain concentrate on finding something blue. Make your brain concentrate on, what about tasting?
Taste. Notice what's the last thing you tasted, usually you have
Right.
some residual flavor, or grab something
So you're
near
saying to
you
actually
and take
taste
a sip.
something, or are you saying figuratively taste something?
No, if you can do it concretely, that's
it.
better.
Okay, and that's where I want to get, because
Yeah.
if I'm in the middle of the desert, the only blue thing I may see is a cloud or a sky.
That's
Okay,
right. That's
okay,
right. So
okay.
maybe that's not the best
Right.
in the desert.
Right.
Right.
But I'm asking that because I want the audience, when the audience here, they're going to say, okay, but where am I? So I just wanted you to clarify
Yes,
that you
that's
do
good.
physical as much as you can,
Yes.
but wherever it can't be physical, you
Right.
already have the implementation in your head.
Right.
Okay.
And then the third technique, and this will work in the desert, is to turn your emotions into very concrete words. So rather than sitting in the feeling, take the feeling and turn it into language. So if I'm feeling really anxious and worried and scared, what I'm going to do is, instead of feeling that, I'm going to say, wow, I feel very anxious right now about what the Trump administration is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really scared about where the country is headed. I'm frustrated that what I'm doing feels like it's not working fast enough. And when you make that effort to turn things into words, you bring your frontal lobes online, you tamp down your limbic system, and you're going to necessarily calm down.
Okay, so now are we talking about if I'm in a conversation with let's say the aggressor,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying to tell them right now, this is what I am feeling?
So it depends strategically. So sometimes what you can do is take a timeout. So that's what I often urge people to do if they find themselves spinning out in a conversation. Say, you know what, I really want to talk about this with you, but I need to take a quick break. Run to the bathroom and run through this exercise to recenter yourself, and then head back.
Okay, I see. Well, yeah, that is something that people have to practice for quite a while, because it's a hell of a lot of steps now.
Yeah.
We're talking from what we just discussed about 12 steps.
Yes. And here's the thing that I tell people when they push back on me and they say, I don't know, that's a lot of work.
No, I'm not. I was not pushing back.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
No, it's a lot.
I believe in doing things that work. And if you're the expert here, you're the psychologist? Psychiatrist. I never get it right.
It's okay.
You know, psychiatrist. When people, I believe in research. So if you've researched something and you found it, I am all for that. You know, and it is something that I would be more than happy to try.
Yeah. These are evidence-based practices.
Right.
Like I say, the Marines use them.
Right.
But I think one of the things people need to think about is, none of us questions the fact that when people go off to war, they go out to basic training in order to prepare themselves physically for what they're about to do.
So how come?
We need to do that emotionally for the resistance.
Well, and you're actually right, because we are in a war, aren't we?
Yeah.
It is a war, and we have to have techniques to win the war.
Right.
So that is great. Why should I have asked you that I didn't?
Well, so that's just the urgent care. There are the things we need to be doing every day, regardless of what's going on in our lives, to prepare for the next time we're in a situation where we get emotionally challenged politically. So the big thing that I tell people is I really encourage you to work on mindfulness. Mindfulness.
Okay.
So, my favorite in that regard is meditation. And meditation doesn't have to be this big, in-depth thing. People get very intimidated. But you can work on it for 1 minute a day. And the studies show it improves your ability to stay centered when you get challenged emotionally, right? So what does mindfulness do? Basically, it creates a pause button. Like there's something that happens that triggers you. And normally what we do is we just immediately react. Mindfulness gives you the ability to take a breath, to think, and respond. Choose what you're going to do next, rather than just impulsively go with the first thing that comes to your mind.
So in effect, I think you're saying it is like preheat the oven, train yourself.
Exactly.
So that when you're confronted, you actually can, the techniques almost become muscle memory.
Exactly. So that's one of the big ones. And then I'll leave you with my really favorite one, which as far as I know, no one out there is teaching right now, which is political desensitization.
Political
desensitization.
Okay, go ahead with that one.
A lot of us, we have our own personal triggers. For a lot of people, looking at a photograph of Donald Trump is just like, oh my God, hearing his voice sends them into just an immediate spiral. So what do we do with that? He's in our environment constantly. We can't be flying off the handle every time we encounter him.
Right.
So what I teach people to do is to take advantage of the fact that our brain has a natural desensitization system. If you are around a stimulus long enough and it's not actually hurting you, your brain gets used to it.
Right.
But what we normally do in those moments when we encounter something that we don't like is we flee. And when we flee, we actually, the next time we encounter it,
recycle.
It's worse. It's worse. It's like with spider phobias.
Right.
You run away from the spider and your brain's like, oh, what a relief. I feel so much better. This means I should run away from spiders every time I see them. Right. So what I encourage people to do is the exact opposite.
Stick with it until your brain desensitizes.
Exactly.
It becomes white noise.
Exactly. And start small. You don't have to immediately go into conversations with people you disagree with. Start with a photograph of Donald Trump.
Right.
When you're comfortable with that, start with a speech with Donald Trump. And when you're comfortable with that, move on.
Got it.
Yeah. That makes a huge difference.
Karin, the smart politics lady, I'm going to call. Thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Thank you for having me. It's been
a wonderful
pleasure.
Day. All of our country's problems, from polarization to ignorance on domestic and international issues to a complete misunderstanding of our economic and healthcare systems, are a direct result of a derelict mainstream media that too often bend over backwards to support corporate or bought politicians' wants as opposed to the people's needs for real information to make their lives better. Independent media is the only solution to inform truthfully and factually. Why? Because our loyalties are to you, the ones who fund us with small dollar contributions and subscriptions. Please consider supporting our independent media platforms by subscribing to our Egberto Off the Record newsletter at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It's an investment that pays incalculable dividends.